They're building businesses, building careers, building strategic relationships, building confidence. And you're standing there wondering, how did these people figure this thing out? That is how I felt for a very long time. I want to tell you something that I wish someone told me way earlier. That life is not as random as it seems. I used to think life was majorly about luck, being lucky, being at the right place at the right time, being in the right rooms, meeting the right people, getting the right opportunities. But it is way beyond that. I couldn't help but observe that while some people are stuck in the same circle year after year, others keep progressing, consistently moving forward, consistently making progress, consistently building. And I wanted to know what the secret was. And I found it. And it has dramatically changed the way I now see life. And that is what I want to share with you today. So let's talk. Do you know that life is governed by laws and principles? Invisible laws, quiet laws, laws that are working every single day, whether we understand them or not. Think about gravity. Gravity doesn't need you to understand it for it to work. A child can literally jump from the rooftop not knowing gravity exists. Guess what? You guess right. Gravity will still work. And the same is true for many principles in life. They are constantly shaping, affecting, and influencing our future, whether we know it or not. And I just want to share just 5 of these laws with you that have completely shifted my mindset, and I hope they help you. So I'm going to start with the first law in my books, the law of honor. If you're African or you grew up in an African home or you're anything close to that, whenever you hear honor, what comes to your mind is good morals. But honor is way deeper than that. Let me tell you what honor is. Honor is recognizing the value in a person or a thing and treating it as such. Let me give you an example. Imagine someone handed you a piece of diamond, but you've never seen diamond before, you know nothing about it. So you think that what was given to you is just a piece of glass. Tell me, how are you going to treat that? You're going to treat it just the way you think of it, as glass. While someone else would have been rejoicing going to the bank to exchange it for money, you think it is just glass. So you treat it as glass. That is actually what we call dishonor. And I know the excuse will be, oh, but I didn't know. That is the funny thing about laws. Remember what I said about a child jumping from the rooftop, not knowing gravity exists. It is still going to work. So honor is saying you're not permitted to allow anything good stay in your life if you would not acknowledge its value. And in my opinion, I think this is the number one reason why we miss out on the right people, we miss out on the right opportunities, we miss out on the right time or seasons in our life. So let's move to the second law, the law of faith. People think that faith is believing, but that is half truth. Faith is believing enough to move. Imagine they told you that tomorrow you're going to be receiving a special guest in your house. What are you going to do? How are you going to behave? You're going to make sure your house is clean, smelling nice. You prep your meals because you don't want to be running up and down when the guest has already arrived. If you are meant to go pick the guest from the airport, you make sure the car is ready, there's gas in the car. Why are you doing all of that? Because preparation is proof of belief. You don't prepare for what you don't believe. That's where many of us get stuck. We say we want something, but we don't prepare for it. This is past midnight. I am sitting on the floor with my phone in front of me on a tripod, and I am talking to you, filming this video, because I believe there is something I believe, and my belief has pushed me to film a video in the night. I want my video to reach thousands and thousands and thousands of people. And because I believe that my video is capable of reaching so many people, I believe enough to move, to film the video. What do you believe that you're not moving? What do you believe that you're not preparing for? I don't need you to answer it. I need you to just sit with a question long enough and let it brew in your mind and in your heart. Faith doesn't wait until everything is visible. Faith starts moving even when some things are invisible. Just like a farmer plants before he sees harvest. Faith says, prepare for it even when you haven't seen it. And oftentimes, the future belongs to the people who prepared even when they had no proof. We are making progress. So let's move to the third law, the law of seed and harvest. This law explains something that literally every one of us have experienced, that everything begins with a seed. A tree begins with a seed. A relationship begins with a conversation. A career begins with an application. A business begins with an idea. Confidence begins with a small act of courage. The challenge is that the seed rarely looks impressive. A seed doesn't look like a tree. One workout session doesn't look like fitness. A video doesn't look like influence. A page doesn't look like a book, which is why we give up very early. But life keeps teaching us the same lesson over and over, that the things that eventually change your life are so small that they can be ignored. You know what they say? Big things always come in small package. Don't miss out on your big thing because you don't recognize it. So the next law is a law of use, such a simple but important law. This law says that whatever you use grows, whatever you do not use weaken. Think about your muscle. The more you use your muscles, the more they grow, and the less you use them, the weaker they become. Have you ever seen a beautiful house that was newly built, looked so beautiful? Everybody that passed by looked at the house, admired the house. But for some reason, maybe the owners relocated or something happened and they left the house for 5 years, for 10 years. This same beautiful house starts to deteriorate. You will think that because nobody is using the house should just remain beautiful. But no, that is actually what happens to your talents, your gifts. The more you use them, the more valuable they become. The less you use them, the weaker they become. Our talents and our skills are potential. But potential is like a tool in a toolbox, neatly packed. But a tool in a toolbox, as beautiful as it looks, it doesn't solve problems. You have to bring the tool out of the toolbox to actually solve the problem. I know everyone watching me has a favorite somebody, favorite artist, content creator, footballer, whoever. Those people are your favorite because they found their gifts and their talents and their skills, and they decided to engage this law until they became masters at doing that. And that is why their mastery and excellence captivates you. You too can become that person, the person who someone else is captivated by, just by using what you already have. The next law is such an amazing law. This law has opened my eyes to what success truly is. It is the law of growth. The law of growth is a law that ties everything together. For years, I thought success was about getting money, getting influence, getting opportunities. But this law taught me that success is about becoming more than it is about getting things, you know what I mean? Because more often, the life you desire requires a different version of you that has not even existed. So what do? You need to become that version for you to get what you want. That is why nobody arrives. People only become. Growth is a daily decision, a decision to learn, a decision to improve, a decision to be 1% better today than you were yesterday. And when growth becomes a lifestyle, transformation stops being an event. It becomes inevitable. The beautiful thing about these laws is that they are available to everyone, not just the wealthy, not just the connected. They are available to everyday ordinary people like you and I. All you need to do is to know them, understand them, and engage them with wisdom. They may seem simple, but they are powerful enough to alter the direction of your life. Don't be a passenger in your own life. Be the pilot that drives it to the destination it should be.